What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of the Off Grid podcast. Boy, have I lived up to the name of the podcast because it has been 2 full months since I've uploaded. It's probably been more than 2 months, but the YouTube says 2 months ago. It's been at least 2 months since I have made a podcast. So apparently, I've been actually off grid. Haven't actually been, but I have been away from the podcast. Just realized that I almost bit off a little more than I could chew when it comes to having a new guest every single week. It's a little bit hard in the drifting industry. There's only so many of us in Florida, let alone the Central Florida area, coming and going. It just made it kind of difficult. The weekly episodes kind of fell through, and then I started focusing on just other avenues of things that I was putting effort and time into pursuing. And I kind of want to restructure the podcast a little bit and just add on a couple of my friends to where it's like an easy, consistent thing to do, and then randomly bring on guests when necessary or when available. And then we will all three be kind of, chit-chatting with that guest. But that is something for the future. What I'm at least going to do is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and that is a solo episode. When I first started a podcast, it was mainly because I just wanted to yap and talk and vent and just talk about things from my perspective as I see them in the drifting community. And I wanted it to be kind of such a real thing. And that is what it is. It just happened to be with guest. And today, I'm going to just talk myself. So something that I kind of wanted to start with is just a little bit of a recap of what has happened in our USDC year. I'm filming this Thursday night. Tomorrow we leave. Well, I leave for round 4 US Drift Circuit, the final for the Pro-Am. And to give a quick recap, I'm not going to go too crazy in depth. Round 1, we made it to top 4. Event got canceled. They somehow ran out of time or something. I don't even know. I still don't know. Not that they haven't given us an answer. I think when I just got the answer, I was already so frustrated that I felt that we had almost gotten skunked out of points because I knew that we were capable of placing higher. I thought we were going to win the event the way we were driving. Obviously, that's never guaranteed. Everybody had a shot that was left, but that's the way I see it. It's frustrating. Round 2, that is the round where we do the under the bridge layout, and I booped. Well, I didn't boop. I looped it trying not to run over Henry. Again, personally, I think that call was wrong. It is what it is. But we got out in 32-16. I think it was 32, honestly. Round 3, obviously you guys just saw that. Home track, popped the motor in the car. Not much else to say there. Just shit luck. And now we're going into round 4. That's how we've gotten here. That's how we've gotten to this position that I'm in right now. I don't even know where we are in points. I could try and pull it up real quick without stop talking, but we are pretty far down in points. I know for a fact that our placings, we started off decent. We started out tied with everybody, and then it really crumbled really, really fast. That top 32 finish did not help me at all. And then going into, let's see. That's last year's points. Okay, never mind. They just don't have it on the website. That's awesome. So I'm probably somewhere, I don't know, maybe top 10. I don't even think I'm top 10, to be honest. I'm not even sure. I'll throw it up on the screen. Maybe, I'm not sure. But yeah, so going into this round, first of all, we've obviously got the new car. That's pretty obvious because we just blew up the motor, and I posted that we were testing the car that we got from Billy, the Injuku Z is what we call it. We're using it. I feel that we made some changes to the sway bar and setup. Shout out Matt Schulman. He was out there helping. Pat Gooden as well. And we kind of just got the car feeling pretty good. And I got to do some tandem laps, and I finally felt comfortable. And I was like, okay, this is something I feel that we could go out there and win in. So at this point, I'm just like, hell yeah, hoorah. Let's get it. New car, a little bit of fuel in me because it's a new car. I kind of want to go kill it. I always want to do that, but when you have a new car, it's kind of this is the debut. So I want it to be good, but at the same time, in my headspace, it doesn't even really matter because, we're so far down in points that the best we can do is just get first and claim as best position as possible, I guess, which is sick, but I want that to happen, but I'm really just focusing on getting seat time in the new car in competition and in tandem, taking it to a track that I've only driven twice, a layout that I've only driven twice, and just putting it through the ringer with all the other comp cars that are gnarly and whatnot that we've been driving with. So I'm excited to do that. Looking forward to it. That car is really good. It's kind of shaped up to be something good. We've got the new radium fuel cell unit in it and whatnot. It still looks like absolute shit in terms of wheel fitment. I cannot wait to change that next year. But yeah, that's that. I just wanted to catch you guys up because I've been MIA. I don't even think we've done a podcast since Pro-Am season started. Could be wrong, not sure. But that's it. So what I did today is I put on my Instagram, I was like, yo, I want to do a solo episode. Like, don't be shy. Send something that you want me to talk about. Because I have things that I want to talk about, but then I was like, you know what? Like, if I'm going to do this solo episode right now, like, let me just ask people what they want me to talk about, or if there's anything I could provide my own insight in, or just something, like, you know what I mean? So, and we actually got some really good responses, some really deep, and I'm very excited to touch on because I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand with where my mind has been in terms of drifting and competing. And I feel like I'm just becoming overwhelmed with a lot of things personally. So yeah, I just laid that out there, I guess, podcast trauma dump. So the first thing that people wanted me to chit chat about was the sim, which I will chit chat about because I just got done playing the sim for a couple hours yesterday, training for this weekend's event. The sim, man, I love the sim, but I don't play it enough. I'll be the first to say that. Recently, I used to play it every single day. You kind of burn yourself out. It's like playing a video. It's just, you're playing a video game. So like when you play a video game too long, you're just like, ugh. Unfortunately, I feel like I get that a lot with the sim, and then I just don't want to play. So, but simulators, man, I am 22 years old now. I started playing the sim when I was 13 or 14. Really basic Logitech wheel setup and whatnot. And then I was like, yo, I'm going to use this to my advantage and just grind this forever until I can get into drifting in real life. And then I did. And I did very well at my first drift event. I was able to link the skid pad kidney beam layout, first time driving in real life, all due to the sim. I'm not some sort of natural. Nobody's some sort of natural. Yes, people, survival of the fittest. Yes, some people do have better reactions, better awareness, better ability to understand things and place a car in certain areas. People can be naturally gifted to give them an advantage in drifting, but not like when you start, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, the sim kind of taught me well. And I always try and preach the sim on to people because you need to play the sim. Like if you're competing, you need to play the sim. I need to play the sim more than I played now. I'm definitely lacking, but like I said, you just kind of get burnt out on it. At least for me, like you're just like playing a video game. So it's like, but it is fun. It is a worthy investment. If you want to compete, if you want to get better at drifting, that is the way to do it. Like, yeah, you might need to throw a couple grand into a sim, but like, what's a couple grand into a sim when you're going to go spend like $400 minimum to go drive like a seat time car on the skid pad with tires and gas and like entry fee. So if you want to just maximize how much you're driving, then just get a good sim. It's a cheat code. You see it used in all other aspects of motorsports, F1, open wheel, IndyCar stuff, like even NASCAR dudes are driving it. So, you can't really deny it anymore. It's just part of it. My buddy says, help me drift better. I'm trying to figure out how to drift better myself. So, okay, this one I wanted to touch on because it's just an interesting question. This person said, best way to be able to go to multiple events in a year while being broke AF. First of all, disclaimer, because I already know somebody's just going to come shading me in the comments or probably somewhere on Instagram. They're going to be like, how the hell is Ryan Acevedo going to give somebody advice on how to go to events if they're broke AF when he has a like family backed race program and sponsors? And that's a great, that's a great take. How am I supposed to be able to do that? Well, because the higher you get in motorsports, the higher your cost. So yes, while we do have a decent amount of money in partnership and our family backing between my parents to drive events, we are also driving at a high level to where events are extremely expensive. Overhead cost is extremely expensive. Running the car is extremely expensive. And just like when you're at a super low budget level and tight on money, we now have to figure out how to disperse this amount of money between, what events can we do with this amount of money, because it costs this amount to go here and this amount to go here, large numbers that quickly take up your budget, regardless of if you are broke AF or have a big budget. We're kind of working around the same principles and problems all the time, and it's very relatable. So I I personally can't fully break this down because I don't know somebody's financial situation. Obviously, there's so many variables. But what I will say this is at the beginning, prior to the start of your season, shout out to Nate, by the way, for putting me on this game. Prior to the start of the season, figure out what events you want to run. You know, this question says, how do I find a best way to drive multiple events in a year while being broke? So figure out how many events can you afford to do? You know, you probably know how much money you're going to make this year, and you can probably, hopefully you already have a budget and you know how much that you're spending and how much is going in, how much play money do you have? You know what I'm saying? So how much play money do you have every month? And then times that by 12. Okay, cool. We've got a number of amount of play money, and you know, obviously maybe not the whole amount is going to go to drifting, but let's say it does. Let's say you've got $10,000 worth of play money a year. Well, then now you got to figure out your event cost. How much does it cost to run my car at a single day event? Okay, it costs $1,000 to run my Nissan 350Z at one full all day Saturday event. Let's say I'm going to buy like 4 Zec Novas for like 400 and some change. $100 to drive, $500. I don't know, whatever. Maybe it's not $1,000, but let's just use that. I want to keep it easy math. So then you can essentially do 10 of those events a year, and you need to figure out which events are going to benefit you the most, which events you want to attend the most. Maybe you don't want to drive all 10 events. Maybe you want to drive this event outside, and just figure out how much it costs. Really what I'm basically saying is just budget. I know that sounds really stupid, but budget and then figure out the maximum amount of events you can drive and drive as much as you can. Create content around it, because if you start driving as much as you can and you're maximizing your budget and you're also creating content, then chances are you'll be able to start opening doors for opportunities with partnerships and exchanging content for whether it's discounts on items, assuming you're at the, you know, newer end of the spectrum of driving, or maybe it's free parts, maybe it's whatever you need to go drifting, maybe it's a sponsor that's paying for your entry fees. You know, so figure out the budget, figure out how many events you can drive, figure out what events you want to drive, piece it together, make a schedule, make a plan, base that off the money that you know you do have and you can do. And then, yeah, create content while you're there, create content when you're not there, and figure out a way to start bringing in partners and hopefully monetize it one day. That's the best advice I have there without knowing a complete financial situation to that question. Also, yeah, that's just the best I can do. My buddy, I'm going to name drop him because he's a buddy of mine. Matthew, do you even shred bro? Barely, honestly. I'm trying to get there. This question, man, this one's going to be a rabbit hole. I'm really excited to answer this one. The question says, mindset, high and lows. How do you keep going? Wow, great question. I feel like I've gotten myself in this position, in this seat, in front of the camera by myself because I've just been confused lately, to be completely transparent. I don't know. It's that like winter arc thing where it's just like life starts to change. And I think I'm at an age where so much is developing and going on at the same time. And I'm about to enter my junior year in college. My friends have already graduated. I don't know. I have a lot of random shit in directions and roads being like thrown at me. And I am just a little bit overwhelmed on how to handle that. That is my current situation. The reason I'm getting into that is because it kind of relates to the question. Highs and lows, how do you keep going? Well, man, first of all, something that I learned this year is that, well, let me backtrack for a second. I feel like I have been on a life high for a while now. I feel like from age 16 when I started drifting up until age 21, I was on a life high in terms of like shit was just going through the roof excellent. And that was a great and bad thing, because when things did start to get a little rocky, or I did start to face challenges and stress and overwhelm with school and stuff, then I was like, oh shit, it's not always going to be that pretty. Because age 16, when I started drifting and I was in high school, up until like last year, really, when school didn't really get that hard, I was just kind of like chilling. I was just kind of like driving events. Like my dad and I were operating the program. You know, obviously my mom's involved too, but like my dad and I were working on cars together, like in Jacksonville, and I still lived there. And I was in high school, you know, we were developing, driving clutch kickers. Every event, it was something new and exciting. And we were just progressing and doing all these new things and learning so much because everything was so fresh and new to us. And yeah, it was just amazing for so long. Not that it's not amazing now, but I got to a point where a more real side of everything started to unfold as we started getting a lot more serious with competition. Strictly pretty much only changed our program and schedule to competition driving. And yeah, so that brought my first, I feel like, wave of lows in my life this year, because I just feel like it's just been a juggle. You know what I mean? It's been hard figuring out what I want to do as things start to become closer and closer and closer. Like, obviously, hopefully I'm able to drive FD next year, but I've also got to figure out like what I'm going to do for college. I'm going to get to that in a second because it pertains to a different part of the question. I'm not going to talk about my college experience. That's not what I mean. I mean choices and stuff. So, yeah. So now that I've just been kind of hit with these hard thoughts and not thoughts, but just like stressful environments and shit, like school, grinding it, leave, go to the track, like, or get in the truck, drive 10 hours to the track sometimes. It's just been wild. And I've had to just like figure out ways to push that away and just be an absolute weapon. And my two things personally for me that do that are the gym and now running. I used to run, didn't stop for a while, had Lewis on the podcast. He talked about running and I was like, damn, man, like maybe running is the answer that I'm looking for, that I just have lost touch with. And it helps a lot, helps clear your head. It's, your body's your temple. So take care of your body. And I'm not saying that you need to exercise to, keep going through the highs and lows, but I am kind of telling you to exercise to get through the highs and lows, because at the end of the day, every problem you face and every ounce of stress and overwhelmingness and obstacle that you face in your day-to-day life, it all just gets stored up here in your brain, in your little body, and your whole body is your temple, storing all of these problems and facing all these problems. So take care of it. If you haven't been taking care of it, that's fine. For a while, I didn't take care of my body. Not that I was like bigger or anything. I've always just been naturally like scrawny, but I didn't take care of my body in other ways. I just didn't work out. I was like 20 pounds lighter than this. I barely ate anything, and I treated my body like shit. I ate like shit. Didn't do any kind of fitness. Despite looking like just a normal scrawny kid who was doing things, I was just severely unhealthy in terms of my lifestyle choices. I was drinking a lot when I was like early in college, and I was like a freaking nicotine addict. So yeah, there's just rough things that, you always don't see, but are there. And so yeah, fitness is a big thing that kind of helped me push through a lot of problems and a lot of self-growth. So maybe start running, walking, jogging, get in the gym. You don't have to go crazy. You don't got to be a meathead, but just take care of your body. I've learned that, you take care of your body, your mind starts to heal. So that is kind of what I do to get through the highs and lows. And also I just talk to people. I know that sounds stupid or sounds like, oh, if I could talk to somebody, I would. Well, somebody always wants to listen to you, and somebody's always there. Hopefully, if not, you can always seek that. For me, I literally just recently, like a few nights ago, went through I was just like stressed out about like choices and shit. And I sat on the phone with my buddy at like 3 a.m. and sitting on my beanbag shirtless in my room for hours, literally like 2 hours, just talking to my boy and just chopping it up back and forth, talking about life and choices and X, Y, and Z. And it made things so much better. I went to sleep with such a clear head. I woke up, I tackled my day, and I felt so much better about it. Let's see. So that's kind of that. Highs and lows, how I keep going. Mainly just fitness, talking to people, being verbal. Oh, excuse me. Trying not to hold on to my thoughts too much, because holding on to your thoughts is bad. I have a lot more time than the average person, I would say, because just being completely transparent, I literally am just a full-time student. So yeah, while that is fun, you get to sit around and think a lot, and it's good and bad because you think about the stressful things as much as you think about the really cool things and how to do things and grow things. And then that adds stress because you're trying to figure out something that you don't really know the answer to, and you're just hoping you can get it right, because that's what success is just getting all that right. Let's see. I love these questions that someone asked. What keeps you, this is kind of similar to the last one, but not really. What keeps you motivated in life? What makes you wake up and keep pushing? This answer is going to sound kind of crazy, and it's probably not the healthiest answer, but it is kind of just what keeps me going and what makes me wake up and keep pushing. And that is like, over the last couple of years, I have developed this like extreme fear of failure where like I am just like worried. Like, I don't know, everything is just crazy nowadays, and it's so difficult in real life, in personal life, and in motorsports. Like, everything has just become so much more competitive, whether it's like getting to FD or like the job market or like schools and whatnot. And I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. This is difficult. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just along for the ride. But you're not just along for the ride. You're kind of driving your man in the spaceship. So, I've just developed this like fear of failure. I'm like, I can't fathom accidentally, excuse my language. I can't fathom accidentally fucking up and then either going down the wrong path in terms of choices or like holding on to something too long and not making sure to take care of myself financially and stuff and securing that kind of stuff. So just the fear of failure scares the shit out of me, and it makes me just wake up and I'm like, yo, I got to get everything done instantly. I need to go have a gnarly day in the gym. I need to run 3 miles. I'm just like, I got to just do everything I can to try and be as successful as I can on the track as well as off the track. And like I said, it just stems from this overwhelming fear of failure. And yeah, I don't know. It's just scary. Can you like imagine that? Like, I don't know. Thinking about failing is scary. And I know that you're not supposed to think about failing. I don't mean that like I sit on grid and I'm like, oh my God, I'm afraid to lose this battle. That's the last thing I think. I'm very confident in who I am as a person when it comes to like my academics, my fitness, my driving, my goal drivenness. I'm just word vomiting. Very confident in that side of things. But I mean that I'm just like afraid for it not to work out. So my mind is always on like, I need to spend every single minute basically doing what I can to make it happen. And yeah, it just kind of feels like I got a fire under my ass basically. And that's just what keeps me going, I guess. Same buddy, said, what is your biggest goal in the next 5 years and how do you make that happen? I'm assuming he kind of meant how do I plan to make that happen or how I will make that happen, because you can't plan on things. You just got to do them. My biggest goals for the next 5 years. Well, I have like two sides of life, really, I would say. I have like my drifting side of life and then my everything else side of life. My everything else side of life consists of school and my degree pathway, and it consists of playing music, and it consists of going to the gym, and it consists of training with firearms, and that's pretty much it. That's like my main hobbies, and my dog, who is currently laying on my feet. That's like my personal life. That is the other side of things that cars do not affect at all. Drifting does not affect at all. That is its own space. Clock in, clock out. One of the two, one job at a time, basically. The drifting side is the drifting side. We compete in Pro-Am, we travel to these events, and we spend a lot of time in between events when we're not driving, Jacob and I, working on marketing strategies, working on reels, videos, ideas, things we can do to kind of possibly approach new companies, things we can do in the future. And we're always just kind of thinking about stuff like that. So that takes a lot of time. And there's two separate things. And I feel like I have goals for all of those things individually. So in the next 5 years, obviously for drifting, my end goal has always been to be an FD Pro 1 driver. We have placed pretty good in the Pro-Am, and I'm hoping that we have a decent shot at getting into Pro Spec for the 2025 season. Couldn't remember what year it was for a second. And I guess my goal for the next 5 years with drifting is to obviously get into FD, but here is one thing that I've been thinking a ton about. I want to get in a position within the next 5 years, ideally, in drifting, where, and this kind of goes hand in hand with my personal life goal as well. So I guess it's kind of just one, actually. I want to get to a point where in my personal life, being 5 years, being done with the degree, on some kind of career path, probably, or at least, I'm a marketing major, by the way, at least take away what I've learned through school and internships and apply that to my own program or my own business in the coming years, to where I can not only be an FD within these next 5 years and drive Pro Spec, maybe even Pro 1 in the next 5 years, I don't know, but I want to build something that is funneling money into drifting. Here's the thing. Something that I've learned through a lot of friends that are in Pro Spec, a couple guys in Pro 1 even, and just drifters that are traveling the world in country driving. It is so expensive, and it is also so hard to get money to fund your program at all levels of it. I have friends in Pro 1 that struggle to get a budget together for the year, and I'm like, that scares me because you have 5 times as big a following me. And again, there's so much more to it, pitching companies, strategies, ideas, but I see they're capable, competent, confident people, and they struggle with it because it's a hard thing. So I would like to, in the next 5 years, figure out a way and build something that is put myself in the team in a financial position to where we are not necessarily relying on those kind of things to run Pro Spec or Pro 1 at the time, whatever it is, but it's an added benefit. So I would like to get in a position where we can run the entire season of Pro Spec, no questions asked, without sponsors. And then we take those opportunities with companies to expand both us and said partner and really just take it to the next level. And in turn, we would probably get more funding and allow us to do more shit with the car and the program. But that's the goal. Finish my degree, figure out a way to monetize my program and bring more money into it on my own side of the things, and keep doing rad things with companies and drive NFD. Hopefully that all happens within less than 5 years, but we don't make the choices here. So yeah, that was a really great question, because I kind of need to talk about my goals sometimes, because sometimes I feel like I'm chasing so many different things and I'm enjoying so many different things in life that I might be getting not sidetracked, but like I want to succeed with so many different things, not just drifting. Like I love drifting. Drifting's my life. It's the thing I'm most passionate about, but it's not the only thing I'm passionate about. Like I don't know. People always say you only have like one passion or maybe a couple passions in life, or like you find that one thing. But like for me, it's not that one thing. Like I love doing a select few things: music, shooting guns and training, and drifting. Those are like my 3 favorite things. School, not so much. Not one of my favorite things. But so I'm very passionate about those 3 things I just mentioned, and I love spending time honing myself and my craft with those things. And I don't love any one of them more than the others. That might sound like a shock to somebody. Some people might be like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Like you don't like drifting more than playing the guitar? Not really. They both bring me satisfaction, and I find peace within my inner self while doing them. They just both make me feel 2 different ways, but they're essential to my core and being happy in this world and life. And yeah, I love them all. So, whoops. Okay. I do have a couple more here, and then I'm also just going to ramble about some other things, drifting related, not drifting related. But this one, I love this question so much. Do you feel like professional drifting is truly obtainable anymore without family or peers? I think that's what that's supposed to say. It says PERS, but I'm pretty sure peers is PEERS. And I'm assuming because it says family and peers, we'll go with peers. Do you feel like professional drifting is truly obtainable anymore without family or peers? Drum roll, please. Really anxious to hear this answer because it's such a deep question. Honestly, it depends, but the overall scope of the question, because you specifically said professional drifting, no, I don't feel that professional drifting is obtainable anymore without family or peers. Drifting and competitive drifting has become so expensive, and it requires not only so much money, but so much time. It's like a job to run an FD program. Not necessarily what we're doing at our level, but like the guys that are running very low level, entry level Pro 1 programs, it is like they are spending 40 plus hours a week around the clock on their program alone, whether it's like physical stuff, preparation, the car, marketing strategies and stuff, or in that side of things and content. They're spending like 40 hours a week. So you're like working 2 jobs. If you work 40 hours a week and you're running a program, you're basically working 2 jobs. And then on top of that, you're not getting paid for the second one. That's just things you have to do to operate the program. And at the scale of it and how expensive it is, it's an unfathomable amount of money. I mean, it costs at a bare minimum, like doing a mediocre program, it probably costs like $50 to $60,000 to run a season of Pro Spec. Think about that, 50 or 60 grand. Dude, what's the like median income in the United States right now? It's probably, I don't want to get this wrong, it's probably somewhere between 45 and 65. You're spending the median US income on drifting just to run a 4-round series at technically the semi-professional level, I guess you would say Pro Spec is. That's people's salaries, and you're blowing that on racing. Not that that's a problem. I'm just saying, how is that attainable without help? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does one do that? You know? Again, things like I'm talking about, building something, funneling a company or something, and funneling money into paying for your drifting. That's the end goal. That's what you should be doing to be proactive about the problem. But To just flat out answer the question, yeah, no, I don't think it's really attainable anymore. Obtainable, sorry, not attainable, obtainable without family or peers. It costs so much money. You have to either have the family backing to get a roll on it if you did not really hit it off on the game of sponsorships and, partnerships. I know some people that don't really have the money to fund the season, but are kick ass at their social media grind, working with companies, getting monetary exchange through these companies, and they're able to make it happen. But for the most part, for the general person, it sucks, but there's gotta be some kind of money coming in. Just cut the numbers. It's like I don't know. It just seems impossible. I would be like maybe able to do a skid pad event a month at best if I was like completely paying for my own motorsports ventures. It's just unreal. It's so expensive. And that's not bad, it's an expensive hobby. That's how things are in this world. There's other really expensive hobbies, and we're one of the cheapest motorsports. But I do think it's pretty hard to make it in professional drifting without family money or money from peers, or, like you killed it with the companies. And people are going to be like, oh, there's only, like, yeah, you say that, but there's only a handful of like parental funded programs or something that originated as a parental funded program. And that's just bullshit. Like, there are so many FD, like a lot of the guys in FD, I'm not saying a majority, a lot of the guys in FD, I have just found out through either them directly or just conversation, just learning about people, that there is a lot of money in FD in terms of like people get money, people come from wealthier families, and yeah, parents work for some company and some company blows money on their program. It just, shit happens like that. It's the real world. It's how it works. It's not just in drifting, it's in everything. These are a couple random ones. What's better, Glock or Sig? I am actually going to answer this question legitly because it was asked, and I'm sure said person wants an answer. So I own both. I EDC a Sig P365X macro, and I occasionally EDC a Glock 43X. I think the only gun of the two that is going to work 1,000% of the time right out of the box is a Glock. So that's just that. I do prefer my Sig. It's like modded better. It fits my hands better. But the Glock is an overall just better gun. That's it. It's proven. Someone said winning round 4. I don't know. Like I said, I'm treating round 4 as like just a test day, really. Like, I'm very excited to go compete. Let me rephrase that, because I know somebody's going to be like, oh, he's treating like a test day. He doesn't want to win. Hopefully my partners didn't hear that and think that. What I mean by that is the team is working with a new car. Things are different. Parts are different. I am driving a new car that I am not 1,000% comfortable in. I have done 3 drift events in it. And by events, I mean like 3 days of testing where I used like 6 tires each. But it's an overall learning experience this weekend for not only myself, but the entire team, even down to every aspect of it. Noah, Dad, the 2 crew guys. It's just different, So there's a lot of learning to be had, and I'm just looking forward to using this weekend as an opportunity to get in the competitive environment, lock the fuck in with the new car, try my best to win, and then the team also try their best to work around a new car and differences and changes, because that's just the reality. It's what it is. You can't be afraid of change. And we're being faced with change. I feel like earlier in the year, I probably was faced with change. I was really scared to push through with driving that car just because it didn't feel the same as the other car. And I feel like round 3 was a canon event with the motor blowing in the ISR car to just be like, yo, you got to drive this car. You don't really have a choice. Have fun. Do your best around 4. That's kind of what it threw at me. And I'm okay with that. I feel like it almost needed it, because I don't know what it would have taken for me to just send it and be like, yeah, let's just use this car going forward. But that's pretty much what we're doing now, and we don't really have a choice. So winning round 4, hopefully, not hopefully, we're going to try our ass off, but we'll see. I'm being optimistic. I am aiming high, and I'm going to try my absolute ass off, but I'm really just excited for just the principle of the debuting a new vehicle and everybody kind of working together to learn and grow with it, because that is what we're going to be using next season. Whether that's in Pro Spec or not, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be in. Might be in Pro-Am. Might not be in any competitions. Might just be in like a drift tour. I don't know. I don't even know what we're doing for 2025 yet. Add that to another list of things that is confusing and stressing me out right now. So, yeah. Yeah, we'll see what we could do. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. This track is awesome. I think it kind of separates the boys from the men the same way that Orlando does. It's a big track, fast entry. It's pretty road course-like. And we'll see what we can do. I think we have a shot at winning, obviously. I think we're, if I didn't think I was the best driver out there with the best team out there, and if I didn't think that I wanted it more than everybody else, why would I even show up? That's the way I kind of view things. I try and just take a very confident approach to things that I'm doing. And I don't mean to be like confident and not humble. I just mean like, I'm out there competing because I believe that I can win every time I go out there. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste my money competing. I would just figure out something else to do. But something I do want to kind of dive into on that note is, competition drifting. Competition drifting is one of those things. This is unrelated to any questions. Those are done, by the way. Competition drifting is such an interesting thing because it's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The avenue to get there is so painstaking and it's so difficult. And some people just breeze right through it, Some people just look at the track record of Pro Spec, just weasel meander their way in. They just wheeze their way in and are not ready, not capable. And then there's like dudes that barely missed the license, me last year, who I would say are capable, and they just miss the shot because the structure of things, and it sucks. Then somebody gets in and kind of sucks. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, a lot of drivers in Pro Spec are fucking, it's not that they're bad. It's just they're facing crazy challenges and a new level of driving. They're badass drivers. Some of them are less badass than others, obviously. That, everywhere in drifting that occurs. But, yeah, I feel like some people are more capable of being in there than the ones that are there. And I'm not even saying that about myself. I know I joked about that a second ago. But some guys up in East 10 that didn't make the cut, some guys that I know out west. I mean, there's really capable guys, and they're better than some of the people in there. And it kind of sucks that they have to just keep running this rabbit hole of Pro-Am, and then it's competition drifting. I mean, things happen. Like, look at us. We got second place last season. I mean, we were this close to driving Pro Spec. Like, we were this close. But, come back out next year confident, expecting to win. You just placed second. You feel like this is your championship year. And the next thing you know, round one, there's like a logistical issue that changes the event, whatever. Round two, you make a mistake. Round three, your motor blows. You're forced out of competition. And then before you know it, going into round four, you don't even have a shot at being in the top 5. So it's crazy how fast things change. And it was honestly kind of a life lesson for me. I was kind of just like, wow, just because you feel like you're in the position to win and take it all and just be that guy on the top of the hill at the end of it all doesn't mean, even if you're capable and you're working for it, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. The universe doesn't owe you shit at the end of the day. And while I do always preach that the universe doesn't owe you shit, so you need to work for it, you need to put in the work and you'll see the results. I've learned that sometimes the results are not necessarily in you're not in control of the results all the time. You can work your ass off to put yourself in the best position. You're not guaranteed anything. I feel like I worked my absolute hardest this year in terms of all the years that I've driven. And I think we end up placing worse this year than we did 2 seasons ago. And it's like, you just realize how much there is to professional drifting and how many obstacles you're going to face. This kind of shit happens in Pro Spec, Pro 1 all the time. Look at Mike Powers. Pretty sure Mike Powers didn't even make it to Irwindale because it just crashes with the car and expenses. And it's hard. It's difficult. And I feel like I got my first kind of taste of that by fumbling this season. Not necessarily myself, but just stars not lining up. A couple bad days in a row, and you really get bumped down the ladder pretty quick in our game. especially when you're running like a 4-round series. There's only so much time to catch up. It's just difficult. And we're at the point now where, I mean, the last 2 seasons, at least 3 seasons, have been all competition focused. You know, they've been wrapped around a Pro-Am. Before Pro-Am, they were wrapped around clutch kickers. And as we've kind of developed and spent way more money on the cars, the program, everything, I feel like we've kind of strayed away from some of the fun in drifting. And Pat's gonna kill me for saying this because it sounds like I'm saying keep drifting fun, but it does. And while I do find the competition drifting to be the most fun, you kind of miss the other aspects of driving. And sometimes I'm like, damn, like it would be sick if we just did like a Nate Hamilton style drift tour where we're like going to all these cool ass events. And sometimes I even think to myself that might be the most beneficial. You know, I feel like the numbers in professional drifting are not crazy. So if you can market yourself at these bigger events and festivals and digital content creation, like maybe you got a better shot doing that than you do competing, you know? At the end of the day, I want to be, you know, drifting is my favorite thing in the world. So it's like, I don't necessarily want to be a pro drifter if it means like financially struggling for the next 15 years. I do want to be a pro drifter if it means that I can be a pro drifter and not financially struggle. And I don't want to be a pro drifter if everything were stripped away from me, would I still be able to make it happen? But I do want to be a pro drifter where at the end of the day, I can bring everything to the table myself to get the job done. You know, and that's kind of what I'm circling back to earlier about my, you know, goals and plans and things for the future, is because like I don't really own, I mean, at the end of the day, like if things were stripped, right? If there's like, it's a machine, right? Like my program is a machine. If parts were pulled out of my machine, it wouldn't run. I can't run it without these parts. I want to get to a point where like the machine is just, there's no parts. It's just the machine, you know, it just works. I want to get to a point where, you know, it's just either, I just want to hit that point where it's like, you're not at risk. Like I want to make it to where it's like I can drift throughout the year, not necessarily for a living. Well, yeah, I guess for a living, because that's what it would be. I just want to make it to where we can drift, we can run a program all year round and it pay for itself. I don't want my parents to have to be like dumping a lot of money into it. I don't want, I want to build something great with partners, with personal business and stuff and endeavors. I want it to just kind of become something that just funds itself. I don't want anybody to be, stressing out about it, especially as we increase these levels of drifting, because shit just gets crazy expensive. And it's like, you know, if you have a bad season, it's like you can spend $70,000 and place last place because a short stretch of luck. I mean, this shit just happens. You know, that's money, that's time. We're talking a lot of money. We're talking almost 6 figures, sometimes over 6 figures, even at the pro spec level. And, you're spending that kind of money, putting all that kind of time in between the team and whoever's building and operating the car. I mean, it's crazy. That was kind of a ramble. I kind of lost my head, I lost track on that portion. But something I did also want to touch on, I'm going to snag a little drink of my water real quick. I have this bottle that makes like so much noise. So you probably heard that. It's all right. It's kind of funny. I put like a BC sticker on it. It looks really sweet. It's a Hydro Flow. I got like a 2-pack from Costco for like $20 ages ago. And it was honestly probably one of the best investments I've ever done. I didn't get it from Costco. Sorry. I got it from Sam's. Probably one of the best investments. Not a crazy bottle, but it works good. But what I wanted to add on to that is, when you look at our drifting, my program and myself and our drifting career over time, it's like 1 year into drifting, I started competing. Like I drove for fun for legitimately 12 months. And on the 14th month, I showed up to my first drifting competition. So it's like my 5 years of driving, 4 of the 5 years have been like full blown competing and chasing this goal and chasing this dream. And when you think about that, it's just crazy. It's like, I'm very grateful for that, but it's like, holy shit, we have just been doing competition drifting. Like we haven't even experienced other shit in a while. And I'm fine with that because a lot of things in drifting don't really entice me. Competition drifting is the thing that like entices me. But yeah, it's just crazy to think about. Like 4 out of 5 years, like all competing, it's like holy shit. So much time, energy, and focus has gone into it, makes you think. But I just kind of want to think for a second and talk. Well, not think, I want to talk about it because it's just like what I was kind of talking about earlier. It's just like my plans going forward. It's like we're obviously trying to basically just petition in for a license based on our results. We got second last year, which kind of gave us that like right to petition or whatever. I'm not fully sure how it works, but we're in process of hopefully securing that. I don't know. It's up in the air. I haven't heard anything. I don't know anything. I just know that I submitted my form. But, I want to drive Prospect next year and kind of start my journey with that. But the flip side, not the flip side of that, but in terms of other shit going on is like, I'm down here in the UCF area, but I'm in my last semester at Valencia. Then I have to transfer schools. It's one of those things where like Pop's just got a new shop in Jacksonville, really stoked for him, kind of operating base out of there. I feel like it would be super beneficial if we're running FD for me to be in Jacksonville. So sometimes I think about that. I'm like, what kind of opportunities are there up there to kind of grow the shop and grow the business side of things? Like I even think about like parts development and shit. Random things that I'm like, yo, we could probably capitalize on. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm thinking of this because like I couldn't even install said part. But yeah, it'd just be kind of cool. So it's cool that we got the shop. We're going to be making a lot of content out of there. Lots of videos. The only thing is it's really difficult. Like I want to make a lot of videos out of there, but like I'm down here in Central Florida. So it's like I'm not there all the time. I got responsibilities here. I have, things that I'm chasing and pursuing here. So I want to get up there and make as much content as possible. And then I'm doing new content down here. My best friend Lexi and I have a different podcast. And I just kind of entered my first little rabbit hole of making like firearm content, which I already know that there was some confusion on that because people were probably like, what is this dude doing? Like trying to make gun content? I'll explain to you. So I love firearms. I'm very pro 2A. This is what it is. Love training, love, the firearm side of YouTube and the training side of YouTube. And I'm very passionate about those things and, my political values and whatnot. I'm passionate about them in my political values. Not that I'm passionate about my political values. Not that I'm not passionate about it, but I'm not going to go screaming it. But what I'm saying is I'm very passionate about Pro 2A stuff and defending that and working towards that. And so me just kind of being how I am and how expressive I am, I would like to incorporate that into my drifting program and work with some Pro 2A companies that are in the industry, whether they're manufacturers or they make ammunition or, I don't know, holsters, something. I just want to work with some proactive companies that are doing things to defend and protect 2A stuff. And something that I wanted to start working on is me and Jacob creating 2A related content to where we can kind of get a flow going and start gauging out some structure. Because I would like to work with companies, whether they make accessories or a firearm or something in particular, to where we can display and showcase that we can produce high quality content for them, whether it be with us or just for them in general. And that's the kind of things that we can offer in addition to other things that are in my proposal deck in terms of what partnerships with me look like and how they can benefit you and stuff. I just want to kind of open up a new avenue of possibilities, and hopefully we can maybe work with some cool people in 2025. I don't really know. Regardless, I just like doing it anyways. I love creating content. So when it comes to something I'm passionate about, like music, cars, stuff like that, I just super in even lifestyle stuff and like cultural experience stuff, like with the Just Friends podcast that my best friend and I have. Like it's kind of like a Barstool-esque, like just college culture podcast, I guess. And I don't know. I just love pouring time and effort into creating content around those things. So that's kind of what that was about. I know some people were confused and they were like, why the fuck is this dude like randomly dropping like a firearm review? It's because we're just trying to work on different things and incorporate new things into our program. And hopefully some new opportunities for, the future of the program. It'd be pretty sweet. But I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to talk about specifically in this solo podcast episode. We are working on like a new car-ish. It's like that Meth Missile Z that we got. We're trying to like paint it and kit it and make it look nice for Black Friday. Black Friday is going to be interesting. I'm going to use the VQ car in the King of OSW competition because I, one, do think it's beneficial. But here's the thing. Here's what's kind of annoying. I do die on the hill that like the VQ cars and the low mid horsepower cars that are gripped up are way better off than the super high horsepower pro cars. But like times have changed. The VQ car that I'm going to be driving at Black Friday is a 240 horsepower DE that weighs a metric shit ton and is just NA. It's going to be kind of the bare bones old Z spec. The problem is, that's not the Zs that everybody else has nowadays. Like, that's the Z that everybody that started when I started had. Now, like, everybody has a 3.7, like, VHR. Most of them nowadays are on the bottle. So it's like, yeah, I want to use the low horsepower car because it's easier to drive and more competitive than the pro car, but it's not more competitive than the Nitrous 370Z cars on the same tire. So while I am going to use the DE car, I'm just throwing this out there. Like, think about that. Like, a gripped up VQ is a gripped up VQ, but when one VQ makes, I don't know, I think VHRs are making like low threes. So like if you're making low to mid threes off the bottle and then you're making like 400 on the bottle, it's like, yeah, dude, like that is the sweet spot for the skid pad. Like 3 to 4 is perfect. Like if you're going to run more power than like the twos, that is like how you maximize it. Like 3 to 400 and then just be gripped up. And that's what those 370 cars do. And that's what those 370 cars or G37 cars, whatever, 37 on the bottle, that's what they do. And one will probably win Black Friday this year. I'm calling it right now. A Nitrous 3.7 is going to win Black Friday. There's a lot of good drivers that drive them. I've had to go through hell going against a lot of gripped up 3.7 cars last year, and it fucking sucked. You know, people are like, oh, he's using the pro car. It's like easy. It's not easy, dude. If you like feather the gas, it lights the tires off and you go nowhere. We're on the same tire, except I have 600 horsepower. Like I touch the gas and it starts blowing the tires off. Like I got to start rolling out of the throttle, rolling into the throttle, timing it perfectly to not just wash out and then also kill the tire before the next lap. I get 2 laps on my Zec Novas, basically, on any tire. Don't take that as Zec Nova hate. I get more than 2 laps. If I'm dogging them, though, I'm only going to get like 3 to 4 laps on the skid pad because I run kind of a high wheel speed. But, yeah, so last year was like a dogfight with those 3.7 cars. I went against like Joseph, Edwin, the Pink Z. I feel like I might have went against 2 of those pink cars. I'm not even sure. I went through a fuck ton of VQ cars, and they are just so fast, dude. Those 3.7 cars, they're nuts. I mean, it's like they just go around the track like a freaking, I don't even know. Like it's just like it's on rails. If it's a good driver that can run the right wide line, that was going to get tricky. The right wide line, they're just zoom. I mean, they're zooming around the track, and you're like, "Fuck, okay." I'm over here blowing the tires off on the first outer zone. So yeah, King of OSW is going to be cool. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really mainly just looking forward to kind of reliving or reviving the hype and the party culture around Black Friday, which is something that me and Pat are working on with some other things that I'll announce soon. I'm looking forward to that. I'll talk more about that on my Instagram soon. But yeah, Black Friday is going to be sick, man. Like you guys got to come out to that. If you're thinking about coming out to OSW, come out. Even if you're not driving, man, drinking games, sick skid pad competition, badass driving, Andrew Grindle crying about pro cars. And even though he's probably going to do King of OSW in a pro spec car, it's going to be awesome. I mean, you really don't want to miss it. I'm looking forward to it. Black Friday and Spring Break Bash are like the same event, but 2 different times of the year. Spring Break Bash was my first drift event. So I love these like 3-day OSW events with King of OSW. So I'm stoked. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to this weekend. I'm taking my dog down there for the first time, so that's pretty cool. He's been to a couple drift events. He's down there asleep. He's very tired. He's been to a few drift events, but never like a Pro-Am comp, but my mom's coming to this one, so it'll be kind of sick for the pup to come hang out Oh, what up, buddy? He just woke up. It'll be cool. Little fun story. Round 4, this event last year, I was already thinking about getting a dog. I was like, I want a German Short-Haired Pointer or like a Golden Retriever. Like, gotta be one of the two. And I remember we're sitting at the Sebring 7 the night before, and I'm like, Mom, you know, if I win this event, I'm going to get a dog. Like, that's it. You know how the odds of winning an event are so low? I'm like, yo, if I win tomorrow, I'm going to get a dog. It's a sign. And so that day, she's like, hey, or not that day, the day of competition, she's like, hey, Miss Lori, which is my mom's boss. We're very close family friends. She was like, hey, Miss Lori has this golden retriever. He's about 6 months old. She wants to rehome him. And I was like, you know, my mom was kind of chuckling about the deal that we had made, that if I win the event, she's going to support me getting a dog and whatnot instead of yelling at me. And so, you know, at this point, it's like practice before top 32. I've already got off the phone with Miss Lori. She said she's going to talk to her husband about getting the dog. And so I'm like, in my head, I was hungover at this event too, throwing up in between practice laps. In my head, I'm like, dude, I gotta win this event, bro. Like, there is a literal dog on the line. Like, my potential son is on the line, you know? So I had a fire in me. I was like, I gotta make this happen. So I'm like struggling to make it through practice, hungover. I'm like throwing up in between laps. I was an idiot the night before, like literally stupid. I ended up winning this event. And I'm like, the first thing I say to my mom is, I'm like, oh, I'm getting the dog. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, yeah, we just got second place in the championship, a carbon trophy, but like, I'm getting my fucking dog. So I went up to Jacksonville a couple days after, and I went and got my dog. And he is. I've grown up with dogs, and you know, you have a lot of love for family dogs and stuff, and I love all dogs that have been involved in my life the same. But man, there is something about when you are on your own, alone all the time, just not getting the most social interaction. Something about just having like your best friend that is like, dogs like dedicate their life to you, man. So like for me, it's like, you know, me and my dogs, Jack, spend so much time together. I mean, we go to the dog park every day for 2.5 hours. We're, you know, while I'm doing homework, he's cuddling me. I'm yelling at him because he's destroying my plants or the blinds. But yeah, it's just amazing. And I'm excited that his first pro-am, he gets to kind of come to the one that brought him into my life, which is an emotional thing for me. It's very cool, you know. I remember one time I was playing at a bar in Jacksonville doing some live music at my dad's gig. I went up there and went up for a Jags game and played some music at a bar, just impromptu on the fly. My dad was like, yo, go up there. I was like, okay. I remember my dog was getting dog sat because I went up for the Jacksonville Jaguars game that was like pre-planned. And I remember the bar was closed. It was 2 a.m. I wasn't even that drunk. This isn't one of those like drunk sad moments. I was buzzed. And I remember just talking to my mom about Jax, and I'm just like showing her all these pictures. I mean, hundreds of pictures just over the last few days that I'm showing her. And I'm just like scrolling, I'm showing her, I'm talking. Because, you know, my parents, I talk to them, you know, every day, every other day, but I feel like there's still a big disconnect in terms of what happens in my day-to-day life. Even my dad says it sometimes. He's like, I just don't know what you're up to. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, because we'll kind of get into it. We'll get frustrated about, you know, just being on different pages, which comes with the territory of being in two separate locations, doing one thing together. But yeah, I'm just showing my mom these pictures, and I just start crying. I'm like, dude, like, Mom, I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this dog changed my life. Like, this dog, I've learned so much about the world and life and the beauty of life and the beauty of love, and just unconditionally loving and respecting something and someone and a living thing, something that's a part of this world. And that's what my own personal dog taught me over the last year. It's something that I think it was just, you know, Jax was like supposed to be in my life for sure. He is like my best friend, and he's also taught me so many things and opened my eyes to so many things in the world. And yeah, it's just cool. very grateful for it. Very grateful for him. He's my ride or die. And it's just going to be cool to bring him out to the track tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to come on and do a solo episode and talk about some things and answer some questions and shit that were on the Instagram thing that I put up. And just want to come chat. It's been a while. I know I've been lacking on the episodes, but I just wanted to come on and talk and just be myself and kind of be transparent and just talk about things for how I see them and what I'm doing and what my plans are and what I'm up to and what we're chasing and thinking about all the time, you know, in this game. So I definitely want to do another episode like this. I really enjoyed kind of sitting down and just talking and just kind of, you know, chilling with you and kind of feel like it's more of a natural expression of the podcast than I feel like it is with a guest, as bad as that sounds. I mean, it's just coming on here and just being transparent. It's cool. I definitely want to do it more in the future. If you enjoyed it, let me know, let me know in the comments, maybe like, maybe share, maybe sub if you're not subscribed, but at least let me know in the comments, let me know something you might want me to talk about on another solo episode. Maybe I'll start doing solo episodes weekly. I don't know, but just kind of let me know. Let me know what you think, what you might want me to talk about, what you might want some insight and perspective on. And, we'll go from there. Maybe I'll hop on and do this again. I really enjoyed this. I got to get ready and start packing for the weekend because we got an event tomorrow and Saturday. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. If you stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. Sorry. If you whoa, I drink a lot of water. If you stuck around this long, I greatly appreciate it. And I appreciate you just kind of supporting us and, caring about what I have to say and what I stand for, I guess. But, yeah, that's going to be it. Catch you guys next time. I don't know when. Might go off grid for a couple months again. Might not. But, yeah. Love you guys. Thank you for everything. Let's go get a kick-ass win this weekend and make the dreams come true, baby. Love you guys. Peace.